what were your thoughts on? I know we this is kind of the obligatory thing that we've done with every sport so far, but just watching football with no fans. What were your guys' impressions? I know some places had fans, but the overall majority did not.
I actually thought, this is weird, I would have said that football would be the least impacted. I thought it was the weirdest.
I totally agree. Yeah.
Like, it just sounded, because
I disagree.
and maybe it was the way
Really?
they were.
No, I disagree with like the fact that you thought it was going to be the least impact.
I thought it was for sure.
I thought it was going to be the most.
Yeah, because
I thought like hockey would be the most, because like when you like teams score, like there's so many more, like basketball and hockey have these like crazy crowd moments, where baseball and football is more just a steady like noise, right?
So I have a stat. There were the most offensive touchdowns in the history of Week 1 this year. And I think that is because the offenses can literally hear everything they're doing.
Oh, no. I'm not talking about the
impact
play
on the game?
field.
No,
I'm
no,
talking
I'm
about the
talking about the
viewing
viewing.
experience.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So, yeah. But
No.
My-
I agree with that.
So
I'm just talking about like how weird it sounds as a viewer.
Okay.
Like,
Okay.
like
it was weird to see like there's
yeah.
a like.
No, I agree with what you said.
Yeah.
Like, you know, in football, when there's like the deep pass down the field and the ball's in the air, and there's like almost like you can feel the anticipation through the crowd, and
Yeah.
then the guy catches the ball and there's like an explosion.
But it's just like a steady buzz.
It's like,
Oh yeah, and it's 70 decibels or something.
And
That's that's like a baby crying.
and maybe they just need better people managing. Like maybe you need someone managing the levels.
No,
Like,
you can't.
It's illegal.
Yeah, you go up to 70 and you're supposed to like keep it there.
Okay, because in baseball it seems like they're when they
And
get a hit
basketball.
they turn it up.
Yeah.
No, there's a lot of rules because of what
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
said. Like
Makes sense.
how like you could have a homer in there and just
Yeah.
send it
like
up.
but the
it's-
quarterback's calling
and-
out his
yeah.
audibles.
But you could still keep it if you have the max level. You could keep it below the max level and then turn it up to the max level when your team makes a play.
You could,
Because,
but
like,
but I
because
think that
it sounded weird. It
Max-
was weird.
yeah.
I thought it
agree.
was weird.
That
it was weird, but I have like how I watch football. I got all
Yeah.
3 TVs going. I had so much hitting me and like so much like
when I
I forgot about it.
It's not
I
it's
forgot
not a
about it.
huge deal.
Yeah.
I just thought it sounded weird.
it was weirder than I thought it was going to be.
That's what I
Yeah.
thought too.
Yeah.
Like I thought the viewing, like just not talking from the play again, from the viewing experience. If you would have told me before this, I would have been like, football is probably going to be the least weird with like the fake crowd. But I thought it was like it just seemed the most unnatural.
I think that's because of the rules that they've put on.
It probably is.
And a lot of the I think a lot of the other sports too have tried to cover up the empty seats. Where like baseball, they've stuck cardboard fans in there as much as they can. They've covered the NHL. They tarped off all the seats.
One
Most of
thing-
the NFL stadiums just didn't do that.
One thing I do like about the NFL about what the NFL is doing is like they're like there's like especially the ones that aren't allowed any fans. Like the Buffalo Bills game, like only Billy Buffalo was in the crowd. So he was like up in the second deck, like dancing, and they're like, "There's old Billy up there." They like zoomed in on him.
He's
It
just
was
roaming
pretty,
the
yeah,
stadium.
it was pretty funny. I don't know. It's just a good visual. But yeah, so that I found that stat really interesting. That it was the most offensive touchdowns scored in any Week 1 in history. A lot of that has to do with no preseason.
For sure.
A lot of that has to do with the fact that that you can hear everything when you're calling your audibles, when you're reading your defenses. I heard Trey White actually came out and said, he was like, before the season, he was like, it's going to be a lot harder on defenses than people realize, because we do, and especially at home, we count on a little bit of confusion created from crowd noise. And that confusion is now lost. And it's hard enough to cover NFL receivers in the first place, let alone when they can literally yell to their quarterback while they're doing their route.
I wonder how many of
Like-
yeah, that's a good
like-
point. I wonder how many. Obviously, this has an impact, but I wonder how many of the last, or how many. What was the stat? Can you read that back to me?
So it was
the offensive touchdowns, right?
So offensive, and that doesn't include like a pick six. That's
Right.
offensive touchdowns.
So I wonder how many of those have been in the last 10 years.
That's
so.
what I was gonna say. Part of that too, I think, is probably just a trend, the
Not-
way the game's going.
Not saying this hasn't had an impact, because it obviously has.
But I would be curious to see if it's like trending
Like
upwards,
every year,
right?
yeah.
Like I'm sure the last 10 years, like it's probably been a lot more than it was before.
I
that.
would bet at least like 6 are in the last 10 years.
yeah, probably.
Bye.